The Gilded Age, spanning between the Civil War and the turn of the 20th century, was a turbulent and transformative era in American history. It was a time of rapid industrialization, technological breakthroughs, and unprecedented economic growth. Cities expanded, factories roared to life, and railroads crisscrossed the nation. But beneath the glittering surface of prosperity lay stark inequalities, corruption, and significant social and political changes. The term Gilded Age was coined by Mark Twain and Charles Dudley Warner in their 1873 satirical novel, The Gilded Age, A Tale of Today. The word gilded refers to something covered with a thin layer of gold, giving it a shiny, attractive appearance, while concealing a less valuable or flawed core. Twain and Warner used the term to critique the era's superficial opulence and immense wealth, which they saw as masking rampant greed, political corruption, and numerous societal problems. In essence, they argued that the era glittered on the surface, but was deeply troubled underneath. Industrialization was the engine of the Gilded Age. The period saw the rise of key industries, such as steel and oil, each playing a vital role in shaping the modern economy and creating wealthy barons. The steel industry, led by Andrew Carnegie, revolutionized construction and infrastructure, enabling the creation of skyscrapers, bridges, and railroads. The oil industry, dominated by John D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil, became essential for powering machinery and lighting homes. Control of such industries allowed their owners to amass incredible wealth. However, their dominance often came at the expense of fair competition and the exploitation of workers. Technological innovations fueled the industrialization and growth of the Gilded Age. Transformative inventions like Thomas Edison's light bulb and Alexander Graham Bell's telephone revolutionized life, improving communication and productivity while extending working hours with reliable lighting. Advances in transportation, such as railroads, were responsible for connecting the United States together and facilitated trade, migration, and urbanization. Factories embraced mechanization and mass production, boosting efficiency and making goods more affordable. Agricultural innovations, such as mechanized farming tools and refrigeration, increased food supply and enabled national markets for perishable goods. These advancements reshaped industries and transformed society, creating opportunities while deepening the divide between the wealthy elite and the working class. The barons were the kings of the Gilded Age. The barons, who were often referred to as robber barons or captains of industry, were powerful industrialists and financiers. Barons such as Cornelius Vanderbilt, J.P. Morgan, John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie not only amassed unprecedented wealth, but wielded immense influence over the American economy and politics. Their fortunes were often built through ruthless and aggressive business practices and the formation of monopolies. And when their workers tried to unionize or strike for higher wages and safer working conditions, often the barons crushed these movements with force. The barons' luxurious lifestyles and enormous mansions symbolized their wealth and the era's opulence. Vanderbilt Biltmore Estate in North Carolina was a great example of this. Completed in 1895, the 250-room French Renaissance castle boasted 35 bedrooms, 43 bathrooms, 65 fireplaces, grand ballrooms, priceless art, indoor swimming pool, a bowling alley, and technological marvels like electricity, a luxury at the time. The era wasn't golden for everyone. The gap between the rich and the poor widened dramatically during this period. While the upper class lived in unparalleled luxury, the majority of the population struggled with poverty and harsh living conditions. Millions of laborers, including young children, toiled in unsafe factories, mines, and sweatshops. Workers endured grueling hours, low wages, and hazardous working conditions. Meanwhile, the rapid growth of cities outpaced the availability of adequate housing, forcing countless families into overcrowded, dilapidated tenements. These buildings were often plagued by poor ventilation, limited access to clean water, and rampant disease, further compounding the daily struggles of urban working-class communities. During the Gilded Age, political corruption was rampant and a serious problem. Powerful political machines like New York City's Tammany Hall exemplified the era's systemic graft. These machines manipulated elections through bribery, voter fraud, and patronage, ensuring their dominance over local and state governments. At the same time, robber barons used their immense fortunes to exert influence over lawmakers. They lobbied for legislation that protected their interests, secured monopolies, and suppressed labor movements. This unchecked alliance between business and politics allowed the wealthy elite to consolidate power, often at the expense of workers' rights and democratic principles. The Gilded Age ended as more and more of Americans became frustrated with the social inequalities, corruption, and poor working conditions that defined the era. These problems led to the rise of the progressive movement in the early 1900s. The movement sought to curb the power of monopolies, improve workers' rights, and address urban living conditions, while pushing for political reforms to reduce corruption. In the end, the Gilded Age was a paradoxical era, and though it laid the foundation for the modern United States, it also reminds us of the importance of finding the proper balance between progress and fairness.